for those who are on Instagram, so that we can kind of keep in touch. Just there's something about stories, really showing the life, the daily life, and having that personal, relational connection.
Yeah. So would you like to start by telling us a bit more about your accommodation, Twinkle Lane Lodge, is that correct?
Yes, the lodge on Twinkle Lane is the name, and it is in Carlton Landing, which for your United States listeners is designed by the same company that designed Seaside, Florida, as well as Rosemary Beach and 30A, which are really popular destination spots in the United States. So they designed Carlton Landing. Many people call it Seaside of Oklahoma because it has a very seaside feel to it, but we are on a Lake Eufaula in Oklahoma. So that's Carlton Landing. It's a pretty special little place here. It feels like a Hallmark town where you just get, I jokingly say, sucked into the vortex of happiness. So
nice. This should be a slogan on your on your listed profile on your Instagram. Sucked into the vortex of happiness. I like it.
That's right. And the lodge is there. So we are most of the town is very coastal, but there is a very unique variety of a guild of builders, and many of them tend towards the coastal design. A few of them offer a little more variety of more brick and wood and that kind of style. And so we are one of those, as you can see the wood behind me.
Yeah.
We are called the Lodge for a reason. So lots of wood, and it's very lodgy feeling, and we love it.
So do you offer your guests the opportunity to enjoy the lake as well? Like, do people go out there and sort of get involved with sports on the lake?
Yes, we have boating, skiing, tubing, all of those, and kayak and lily pads. And one thing I do is communicate strongly. So I have a guidebook that I share with every guest, and it is very detail oriented because I am very detail oriented. And so I communicate all of the things they need to know about rentals, all of the marinas around that they can, I provide reviews and contact info so they can make the best decision possible for their needs.
Obviously, it's been going well so far.
So far, we've had a lot of really great guests. I feel like we're staying busy for the off season.
But that's good. I mean, if you've launched kind of just as you're going into the off season and you're doing well in the off, then when it's good, things will be really good. Yeah,
that's what we're hoping.
Fingers crossed. Yeah. So how do you manage all of your guests, your communications, your bookings, etc.? How do you manage all this stuff?
Well, not as automated as I would like at this point.
Right. Okay.
But we're kind of trying to figure it out, and we're very new, so we're also trying to keep our costs low while we, before we're able to have the income stream that we would like. So I have an Excel spreadsheet going that gathers all the guest information so that I can in the future provide, I can contact them, and then it's mostly contact through the different DMs.
Yeah, sure. And so which platforms are you using?
We are on Vrbo and Airbnb and one called Hosty.
Okay.
Houfy. It is a direct.
That's a new one for me.
It is. It's a new one for most people, but they have been fantastic. It's looks like Vrbo and Airbnb, but they don't charge a fee on either side. So it's a really great platform for people who want to do direct bookings. But also want to organize.
You've had success.
They're amazing.
Okay, good.
They've been great.
How do you spell that?
Houfy.
Houfy. Houfy. I'll look out for that one. Yeah, I'm always looking for new platforms.
They're kind of the quiet underdog. They're just trying to do their job and not get a lot of too much attention.
At the moment in this industry, what I'm what I'm feeling a lot of is people are really hyped up about direct bookings. I can understand why it's 15% going to the OTA, which can kind of sometimes feel a bit unfair when you think about, you know, how many properties they're running, you know, the money they're turning over. You kind of think, is it really necessary to charge 15%? But that's what they're charging. So a lot of people are looking for this direct booking opportunity, whether it be through their own websites, Instagram, or another OTA that doesn't charge as much. So yeah, thank you for that recommendation. That's a good tip. So how do you manage the physical element? Do you have like a team that help you with this, or are you kind of doing the cleaning yourself at the moment?
We are very far away, so we're definitely not doing the cleaning, unless of course we stay here, and then we try to do as much as we can. And we have a caretaker that kind of buttons up the loose ends for us. But we do have 2 caretakers that have been phenomenal, and we just rely on them completely. They've been really, we feel like we call them a caretaker, not a cleaning lady, because they really are much more than a cleaner. They are taking care of our home when we're not able to.
I like that term, caretaker. I call my staff cleaning angels, because they're much more than cleaners. Yeah, but I think caretaker is a good one. Maybe I can somehow amalgamate the 2 expressions and come up with a new one.
I feel like that gives them a greater sense of importance and value, and equal, like as it should be, you know, versus the alternative. Yeah,
I agree with you. That's a very good point there. So what do you find you spend most of your time doing as a host? What's the thing that takes you the most amount of time?
The marketing.
Yeah. So what's that like? Updating your Instagram, dealing with communications, this kind of stuff.
Yes, Instagram communications. I'm currently working on the website and the search engine optimization.
Yeah.
And just I guess the guidebook's not necessarily marketing.
Yeah.
It is in a way, but not anyway. So just spending a ton of time also on providing the most excellent guidebook experience.
Good.
Yeah. So
and the guidebook, I guess, is a digital format as well as possibly a printed one. Yeah, good.
Yeah, the printed one's pretty outdated at this point, and we've only had it for 3 months.
Yeah, I mean, all documentation that we provide is like, it's just making the most of Google Drive, because you can create some really fantastic. I mean, this is a great tip. I mean, because it's like it's so good in our business, because you can send someone a link, right? Like in your communication, send them a link or which they can click on. And if you want to update that document, you don't need to change this link. So if that link's hidden away in some obscure document you send to guests, you can update the document that link goes to. All free software, but I find that Google Drive is the one. You can really do a lot of stuff with providing guest information through Google Drive. Yeah, that's a super useful one for us. So do you have any other like tools or hacks that you would say that you've discovered over this period that you can recommend to others?
Hosty is free. One thing they are doing, they're still in the ironing out the kinks stage, but they do allow you to convert your listing to a website. And that's been really phenomenal. It is very, again, I'm not a techie, so it's very like click some buttons and move things around, and you don't have to know HTML or Java or any of those languages to do it. And currently it's free, but they will end up charging for the website, which I think is great. They need to earn some money for their efforts, but really slick. You can, for those who are looking, you can go to my website and see what it looks like so far. I'm continually updating it, but as I play with it more, it's like, oh, this is looking pretty good, you know? So the lodge on twinklelane.com. I particularly are enjoying with my Carlton Landing page on the website and the Low Talks page. I've played around with some of the features and it's really looking sharp. So I appreciate that Hoofy is providing, you know, I know that there are some really amazing website options out there, and maybe someday we'll transfer to one of those. But for now, it's serving our purposes and it'll allow us good SEO. And I'm happy with that.
So you've had many direct bookings through your own website currently?
I have, mostly friends and family, but I'm really working to push my past guests that come to me through the other OTAs.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a way to do it. Past guests. I think from my perspective, the way that I found that it works well is to kind of get a balance between using the OTAs and getting direct bookings. You know, mix the two together, and predominantly you're gonna get guests from the OTAs, and they kind of get into your kind of net, so to speak, and then just it's about keeping them in there. I mean, the OTAs are keen not to share the contact information once the booking's gone ahead. So you got to get that information. You got to hold on to it.
Yep. Yeah. And one of the ways I've done that is, and maybe not the slickest way, but I use a jot form for my rental agreement. And one thing I like about that is I'm able to add in some other things into my rental agreement that's not necessarily like rental agreement-ish. Things like, would you like to become a part of my email list, my future emails? Would you like to receive an annual something in the mail? I send out a Christmas card every December, and would you like to receive that with a little special? I'll send out with it. And so they can opt into that there. And I also collect their contact information in that rental agreement on jot form. And so I'm able to kind of like collect a little bit more than I normally would in a rental agreement through that. And I even send that to my OTA people. So I'm able to collect their contact info up front and let them know, like, hey, I have an email marketing, whatever you call it, that they can opt into to stay in touch.
Yeah, that's a good idea. So you managed to keep in touch with the past guests through that method. Yeah, it's a good idea.
I really try to steer them also towards my Instagram for those who are on Instagram, so that we can kind of keep in touch. Just there's something about stories really showing the life, the daily life, and having that personal relational connection. Yeah.
I went through your Insta and saw that was a lot of like stories, a lot of videos that you're putting up, which is it's great for people to feel like they can interact with the space and you as the owner, as the host, so they really get a sense of who you are and what your property is all about. So what's your biggest challenge that you face at the moment, or do you have none?
Oh no, who doesn't have? I would say a lot of people don't know about Carlton Landing. It's really shocking. It's a gem, and I'm from the Dallas-Fort Worth area, which is a giant, population. And the nearest place that most people know about is a place called Broken Bow. And it really gets most of the DFW people for like long weekend kind of. So name recognition is lacking. I mean, it's growing, but even like people in Tulsa, which is an hour and a half away, a lot of them don't know about Carlton Landing. So I'd say we're not getting a lot of like, I'm having to go out and.
Yeah, so you are basically the Carlton Landing's kind of tourism board. Perhaps that's what needs to happen. A tourism board needs to be formed.
And I mean, in Oklahoma it is, but I think it just takes time. But I am trying to tell all of my DFW, my Fort Worth, Aledo, all those friends, spreading the word on all the Facebook groups, and they're all like, oh my goodness, I've never heard of this, because they're the type of people that go to Seaside, Florida, and to know that they could drive there to a place like it in 3 hours is pretty awesome.
Yeah. See, 3 hours in England, it's a long way. 3 hours is a long drive in England. If it's more than like an hour and a half away, I'm like, do I really need to go? Yeah. All right. Well, Amanda, thank you so much for your time. It's been lovely talking to you, and best of luck with Twinkle Lane Lodge.
Thank you so much.